So I remember the first time I saw a dehydrated citrus slice. It was at the farmer's market about 11 years ago, and it was a blood orange slice. And I remember what really struck me was just the beauty of the appearance of it. And I remember seeing it, and if you've never seen a blood orange, what's really beautiful about it is in the inside, it has all different tones of red. Dark red, light red, there's like a pinkish there, there's a little bit of orange tone. And I remember taking that peel and putting it up into the sunlight, and it just looked like a beautiful stained glass window. And I knew immediately that it was something that I just had to use as a cocktail garnish, and it was something that I used a lot. I put it down the side of drinks, I put it on the top of drinks, I put it kind of over the side of it, you know, like a wheel. I know over the years, dehydrated citrus fruit has become very popular and a little bit more mainstream, but I don't want to make it sound like you might not know about it or do know about it. But what it is it's still something to me that is very relevant and very beautiful in a lot of different applications. So I want to show you just a really, really simple way how to dehydrate fruit. And I also thought what's interesting about this is not just the beauty of it or not just the application of it, but a lot of these farmers, I realized they had so much extra or excess of citrus that they were finding ways of kind of what I call keeping the fruit alive. So dehydrating it was just a beautiful thing. And who knows what all the people that came through there, what they did with it, but I want to show you some of the things that I do with it now. But the best thing, first of all, that you want to start with is whatever you decide, if you want to use a lime, a lemon, or an orange, you do want to pick a piece of fruit that's actually more firm. So if you can see this kind of tangerine, it's a little too soft, it won't work as well, where this is really strong and firm. And I'll show you why. So you can really just take an easy knife. This is a bread knife. This is a really nice bread knife, but bread knives work really, really well with citrus because they're just the way that they cut. And what you'll do is you'll just start cutting really thin slices. Because the whole point is you want it to dry, and you can almost see this kind of translucent thing. But see, I'm able, because this is such an amazing knife, I'm able to cut really thin slices, which is great. Now, if you don't have a bread knife for some, if you want to get a mandolin is just really a very simple thing where you take the fruit and you kind of go back and forth on the blade and it creates the pieces in there. Listen, you have to be very careful with those. They work really well, but you have to be very careful to cut yourself. But there's nothing wrong. This is really simple. It doesn't matter if the shapes are a little bit different or not as thick or they're not as consistent. The whole point is that you're creating something that you're going to dry. So we're going to cut a few more of these. And like I said, this is called a bear's lime, which is a California, is in season right now in California. It's a really juicy, beautiful, tart lime. And if you see the tangerine, I'm going to show you right now. If I cut this, right, let's show you. I can cut these slices, but can you see there's a gap really between the rind and here. And what that's going to do, this is really a great eating fruit. You can tell. I mean, this is actually perfect for eating because the peel comes right off. But let's just try cutting a slice. I'm not even sure if that rind is going to stay on. Listen, it would be really interesting to dry, but let's do this. Look how cool that looks. See how cool that looks without the rind? That's something I would probably have more as a fruit salad, or I'd put on top of, I'd make like a really nice citrus salad. I think that's really beautiful. But in terms of drying, what makes something complete, and I can show you, this is that's what you're looking for. You're looking for everything to kind of stay together and to have that nice little look to it. But it is still a beautiful orange to eat and to cut. It just doesn't work that well as a dehydration. So this is a very simple dehydrator. It's called a Nesco, and it's like $45. You can get it on Amazon. And what it is it's really simple to use. They have these different racks. So if you have a lot of citrus, you could make as many as you want, or maybe you make 50 slices at a time. So I just want to show you how many different racks can go on here. I think I've got 3 or 4. Now, I don't have a lot of citrus I'm going to do. I just want to show you right now. But what you're basically doing is placing those slices on there. And listen, you might get to the point where you're going to put spices on there. Maybe you put different sugars on there and salts, and you can get really creative with what different things you want to put on there. But what I like to do is just kind of lay these across. And then this is the top that goes on top. Okay, so it's just like a little lid, and basically it's going to create heat that's going to go through there. I always like to set it between 145 to 155 degrees. And the thing is, as soon as I plug this in, it will start. And what I typically do is this can take anywhere from 6 to 8 hours, and you can hear that going. So the perfect way to do it is just do it before you're going to go to sleep. Plug it in. When you wake up in the morning, your whole kitchen smells like oranges or whatever citrus you have. So basically what a dehydrator is doing is it's blowing all of this warm air into here. So this is like a fan almost. So think of like a steady stream of warm air going into this, and it's heating this up to a certain temperature. It's not cooking anything because it's not hot enough, right? But what it's doing, it's creating a humidity and an air source, a heat source that's slowly drying that citrus, okay? Now, what's great about that is there's so many different kinds of citrus. So like here's a Valencia orange. So each one they're going to have different flavors. You can really see kind of all those, what I love is all the beautiful membranes that are through there, right? And I think you can really start getting creative, and you could, you know, place maybe little edible flowers in there or little things that could kind of stick to that could be really, really pretty. And then, so this is a navel orange, and then you can do something which is called a kaffir lime. Now, kaffir lime is actually one of the few citruses that the leaves have the same flavor as the actual skin of the citrus. So these are kaffir limes that are dehydrated. And I just want to show you, so some of the applications is obviously you can take any of these peels and float it as a garnish, right? So there's something you could float as a garnish there. Maybe you're cutting it down the side. See, since I have such a great knife here, and you're able to do that. Can look really cool. See if I can get a good slit there. That can look really cool. But then what happened for me, it just naturally developed into using these as crackers. So what I love to do is I actually love taking these dehydrated orange peels, and now these are the chips for my guacamole. And if you're gluten-free like I am, or I just prefer not to eat gluten, now you've got these incredible kind of chips, right? That you can use for your guacamole. So there you've got a nice little guacamole there with the chips. And then also now you can use these limes as little crackers. So I have a grenadine syrup, and I also have a video that shows you how to make this grenadine syrup. Also, you might want to call it kind of like a pomegranate molasses. But you can have fun where you're taking this goat cheese and you're pouring the molasses over it. And now you actually have, you know what? Why not this? Why not take that little orange and put that on top, right? Now you've got a little signature there. You could maybe take a little bit of fresh thyme, stick it down the side and the front like that. Could be amazing. You know? But now you've got this little cheese thing, and now you can actually take one of these and make a little cheese and cracker with it, right? I probably put a little bit too much of the molasses, but put that on there. It's so delicious to have that kick of citrus and zest coming through. That really is the perfect citrus for this. So the wonderful thing about this is these last forever. So you can use them as chips, you can use them as crackers, they can stay for months and months and months. And now they become an application for so many things. The garnishes. I sometimes, if I just want to flavor my water and I don't have citrus, I'll take hot water and pour it over the citrus peels, and now I have a flavored water. So it really is endless what you can do with these things. And I think what it really comes down to is this just becomes kind of a creative palette for you to explore whatever you want to do.